Tuna sashimi. 3, 2, 1.
Macross Shooting Insight.
Hello guys, Tuna back again. This time we got a review of Macross Shooting Insight. I was given this code as purpose of review, just get it out there, and I can say whatever I want and nobody's vetting this footage before it ends up on YouTube. I literally just got to send them the link after it's put on. So yeah, Macross. This is out on PC, PS5, Ps4 and Switch. I don't think it's out on Xbox. I could be wrong, but you need to double check that one. I'm playing the PS4 one now simply because it's easier for me to capture all the footage. But differences between the PS4 and the PS5, they practically look the same. They do look a little bit better on a 4K screen because I'm playing on 1080p. The illustrations and that look a little bit sharper. And occasionally the PS4 will have the occasional stutter here and there when something big goes on screen, which you don't get on the PS5. But they practically look the same. I can't tell much difference between them. They may be slightly high resolution. I don't know, but they look pretty much the same. So anyway, we're playing the PS4 one. So let's get into this. I say this is based on the Macross series, which the only bit of the Macross series I've ever seen is the Robotech. Years and years ago, I used to quite like Robotech, and I got one of the DVDs, which I probably should bring out and have a watch again. So I don't really know the story and everything of Macross and how it goes on. So a lot of the story and the characters is sort of, you know, doesn't really mean much to me because I don't really know much about it. So I would say if you're buying this, if you're into Macross and you know the universe and everything, you're probably going to get a lot more. It's going to interest you a little bit more, you know what I mean? So you'll probably get a lot more out of this game. So anyway, let's go for the menus. We have basically story mode, which you have to play when you first start this game. The other modes they're basically not unlocked. You have to play through the story mode first to unlock the other games. So basically story, play through the game, you get the story in between. Arcade mode is basically, you know, story mode with all the story ripped out. You got Ace Battle, which I think as you play through this game and you unlock things and you play through with different characters, you unlock different enemies and then you can choose like a one-on-one battle with them. You've got a boss rush, which is basically do all the bosses again, and you've got area survey, which is basically play through the areas. As you play through the game, you can unlock stuff. So there's artwork, you can have a look at, I'll just show you the Valkyries. So basically you can have a look at the Valkyries, that type of thing, you know. And you got artwork, you got memories and various things, collectibles and stuff. So essentially you go through it. You can't buy any of it, you have to get it on the unlocks. There's online leaderboards for arcade story and the other modes as well, which is quite nice. Option menu, there's not much in options you really need to change. This is pretty much your support stuff. You don't really want to mess around with any of that. The one thing I will say is the original control setup is a bit balked because this is a twin stick shooter, and you use a lot of the time you're using the one stick, the right stick, to aim, and then when you use your support attack or your evade, which you will need to use quite a bit, you have to take your thumb off there and press the button. So I don't know why they'd set. I'll show you what the default is. The default is that, which would be fine if this wasn't a twin stick shooter. So I think they got the control button set up a little bit wrong. I think your best option is to put the support strike on L1 and then change your shoot to R2 because it's just a bit easier to press, and then change your evade to L2, and that makes a lot more sense and makes playing this game a lot better. The other one is just your sound levels, and then the bottom one is your credits. So that's pretty much all the options. So let's get into it. I'll show you the story mode. So you can start, you only get to choose one story playthrough, so once you start a new one you've got to go for it. Right, you've got different characters in this game. You've got 5 altogether. Whether there's any unlockables, I have no idea because I haven't unlocked anything. You've got 5 altogether, and they've all got different Valkyries. Each Valkyrie is different. Like that one can only have 4 lock-on missiles. but he's got a single line firing, but it's powerful. This guy's probably the easiest one to finish with. He's got lots of lock-ons, but it's very slow to lock on. But he's got super wide firing, and so on. You know, I finished it twice. I finished it with this character. He's got really fast lock-on and pretty decent front firing, and I finished it with this character as well. But the idea of this is to play through it multiple times to unlock stuff and unlock all the extra battles and stuff. So we are going to use this character because it's going to be the easiest to show this game off. Right then, you can start in different stages. Here's all the stages in the actual game. So we're going to start at stage 1. Difficulty setting, you may need to change this because when you start this game it is quite tricky. What I'll say is I've got the original PS4 Japanese release and I didn't like it very much because it's stupidly hard. It's way too hard. You'd have to put a lot of practice into it to get good at it. They patched it out and they give you an option which made the game a lot easier, and they've done the same with this. I'll explain what it is. It's basically your energy recovery. You've got an energy bar. When you play for the game you can take maybe 5-6 hits and your energy bar is depleted, and then it's game over. You've got to start the stage again or whatever. Yeah. What they patched in was a way of energy recovery, so you can use Evoke, which gives you a very slow energy recovery. So when you get hit you can recover your hit points, or you can get Boost, which gives you like energy bars like playing Halo or something. You know, you get hit and then just boosts up straight away. With the non-recovery energy, what happens is, unless you're really good at the game, you go for the levels, you get hit a few times, you get to a boss. Say you scrape through the boss with a tiny bit of energy left. When you get to the next level, the game only recovers a tiny bit of health. So what will happen is you'll end up on the next level, you take one hit and you're dead. And so it's a bit of a gameplay flaw, I think, to be honest. I don't know why they did it. It makes the game incredibly hard. Like you've basically gonna have to do these levels only getting hit once or twice. Otherwise there's no way you can recover enough energy to basically be any good for the next stage. So it's a bit of a gameplay flaw. I don't know why they didn't have a full energy recovery at the end of the level. I think that would have made this game a lot better straight off, and I probably would have played it more. But with this version, and they did patch in the Japanese one, they've patched in the energy recovery. So we're going to use the Evoke one because it makes the game a lot better basically and a lot easier to play. And I'm pretty good at shoot-ups, to be honest, but it's tricky. And because you're using the analog sticks as well, you can, until you get used to the game, the controls can feel a little bit loose. But then once you get used to it, you will get better at dodging. But there is a dodge mechanic, as you'll see in a minute. So I'm just going to leave the cutscenes and everything on. So let's start. So when you do use the energy recoveries, you can't get on the scoreboard, which is probably why if you look on the Japanese scoreboard, there's hardly any bugger on it. I think there was about 5 people on the scoreboard last time I looked. So with this one you get a lot of illustrations of the characters. So if you know the Macross universe, you're going to recognise all these characters. The story wise, as far as I'm aware with the story, it's basically one of the songstresses was basically, you know, a band where it plays, they go into battle and they play to sort of heighten the battle and give you sort of encouragement to win. They get kidnapped and your mission is basically to rescue them. So like I said, if you've played a lot of the, if you've watched or played a lot of Macross games or watched a lot of the series, you're going to know a lot of these characters are. But to be honest, they're a little bit lost to me because I don't know what any of them are. So I think you will get a lot more out of this game if you're into Macross and you like shmups. So I'm just going to skip that for now. So gameplay wise, this game plays in various ways. You get a full sort of, not 360, but you get a flat background, so you're on a flat background. You get a horizontal game, you get a vertical game, and you get a scroll all around the screen game. It swaps in between them as you play through it, and when the Valkyries change form, like they're doing now. So this is one of the levels where you go around. This is basically the lock-on for the missiles, I guess. And this is where the dodge comes in handy. Different characters will have a better dodge or a not so good dodge. His dodge is a little bit crappy because you've got to be pretty close to things to dodge. What you'll find with this character is normal firing. You pretty much don't need to use the missiles very often. To get power-ups, these crystals drop, and you collect the crystals, which you'll see shot on the right hand side. That shot then will power up, and once you get to the top it'll change your level and your weapons will get better. The one thing I will say about that is that depending on what character you're using, it can be pretty tricky to power up without actually dying. And the gem power-ups, your power-up will start sort of automatically going down, so you'll end up having to collect a lot of diamonds, or crystals or whatever they are, until you can get your weapons powered up. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but once you get good at it, you will end up powering up to 5 and end up staying up there. One other little complaint I would say about this is all this stuff on screen here. If I fly into it, it goes opaque, so you can actually not opaque, it goes clear, so you can see through it. When enemies fly through it, doesn't. At certain points, not very often, enemies will end up sitting behind it, and you can miss them and get hit. It's not a huge problem, but it'll catch you out at first. Graphics wise in this game, the graphics are not bad. They're not amazing, but they do the job. As you can see, the Ps4 did stutter a tad there, just in certain places, that's all. The backgrounds have got a bit of a blur to them, to obviously they like, you know, the foreground sort of details, so they're highlighting stuff that you're doing. To be honest, I wish the backgrounds didn't have the blur, and they were just like clear. There was some nice graphics, and overall I would say there's like a bit of a bloom over the entire screen, which I don't particularly like that much. I would have probably preferred this without the bloom. Here's another gameplay thing you do this. Once you've done so many and picked up enemies and killed so many of the blockers, you end up getting the songs, and you see the border and everything that goes around the screen. Sometimes that can't catch you out. Once you get used to the border there, you'll probably start recognising bullets over the top of it. So this is the first boss. See, these encouragement songs as well, it's a little bit of a shame that you don't end up triggering them a lot of the time until you're near the end of the level, so you don't really get to hear all the song every time they trigger. Unless you're on the last level, it does play them on the last level, which is a little bit of a shame. It would have been quite nice if you'd had the option to play these songs through the levels as you're playing through them. So I'm going to use my support weapon here. That support weapon's that bar on the bottom left hand side. What that does, as you start killing enemies, that bar powers back up and you get so many support attacks. I do with him, you're supposed to do the lock on. I'm just gonna kill him quick. As you can see, there's a lot of bullets and stuff that go on in this game. Ooh, that's an interesting attack. Never actually seen this attack. Oh, we killed him by now. I see, you do get used to the analog controls, and you can be quite precise with it. It just takes a little bit of practice to get good at it. I like playing shmups on the joystick, but they're not too bad on analog. It does work. So as you'll see, is my NG will go up a little bit, but that's it. That's literally all you get at the end of a level. So say your NG is right down to 10%, you'll get maybe 25, and then you have to play the next level with that NG. As you can see, there's the unlocks I've done on the side. So then you get the next story bit, and then it's on to the next mission. Each of the characters get to play through the game in different levels and a different level set. They essentially play the same levels, but they play through in a different route. So here's your story. I'm going to skip the story, but because obviously it's too much to go through. Right, so this is Area B. So now we're getting a more traditional side-scrolling shmup. But as you can see with this guy, you got the lock on, which is handy, but this guy's weapon is like way better than anyone else's. It's not super powerful, but it's brilliant for covering the entire screen. So you don't really have to use the missiles for him. See, there's the blockers. You want the jammers, you get rid of them. So yeah, if you're into the Macross games, I think you'll probably get quite a bit out of this. I haven't played many Macross games. I've played like the PC Engine one's quite good. There's a couple on the SNES that ain't bad. There is a strategy game on the PC Engine which I do have. Forever with Love, I think it's called. I haven't actually played that yet, but it looks good. And Arcade Archives just released the Band Presto Macross arcade shmup, the vertical one. That's a really good game, as. So you can see with the backgrounds, they've got like a blur to them to sort of highlight the stuff in the front. I definitely would have preferred if that blur wasn't on there. But I see what they were going for, you know what I mean? Trying to make it a little bit more cinematic, I suppose. Some of the backgrounds are quite nice as well. It's a shame that they are blurred out, but you know, it's the art style they were going for, so there you go. Music wise, it's got some not bad music in this game. You could probably boost the music, which might not be a bad idea. Some of the music tracks are good, but say some of the main songs that kick in are really good as well. But unfortunately, you don't get to listen to the entire song, which is a bit of a shame. But say you do it on the last level. So now you got a more traditional vertical scrolling shmup. So I think I won't show you any more, guys. I think I'll just leave it at that and give you my thoughts of the game. I would say it's got some quite nice graphics. Nothing special, and the backgrounds, I wish they weren't a bit blurred. And I wish it didn't have that sort of bloom look to it, but maybe they were going for a more cinematic look. So the graphics do the job, but they're nothing special. On PS4, PS5, you do get the tiny bit of stutter occasionally on PS4, but if you put the PS4 one on the PS5, they look pretty much the same. They don't look much different. I don't even know if they've done anything to the PS5 version. So I noticed that lately as well. There seems to be a lot of games that say PS5 version, but they're pretty much just the PS4 version with no upgrades. So they look pretty much the same. So it doesn't matter what you play it on. I haven't seen the Switch version. I've seen pictures of the Switch version. It looks pretty similar. I have seen the PC version playing, and it looks pretty much the same. It doesn't seem any difference between that either. Music-wise, I think the music's pretty decent. The songs that kick in are quite cool. It's just a shame that you don't end up hearing the entire song by the time they kick in. An option maybe just to have the songs play as you play in the levels would be quite a nice option. Difficulty-wise, if you're playing it without the energy recovery as it did come originally, you're really going to struggle with this game. It can be pretty tough, especially where your energy doesn't come back. You only get a tiny bit of energy back at the end of a level, that you will end up being on a level and you're screwed, and you're going to have to restart the story again. So if you put it on the boost energy mode, this game is way too easy because your energy just recovers really fast. So the invoke mode is the way to go, I reckon, with the slower energy recovery. So you can take a lot more hits. So, and then once you get good at it, you can always try with the new energy recovery and see if you can get a replay going. Yeah, so gameplay wise, it plays right. It's a twin stick shooter. You do need to change the buttons around, but once you get used to the analog stick and dodging with the analog, you do have quite fine control on it. So yeah, overall, I would say that if you're into Macross and you know the characters and the lore and all that type of stuff, you're probably going to get more out of this game than I did, not knowing any of this stuff. So if you're a Macross fan, you're probably going to get a lot more out of this game. Me not being a Macross fan, at first I got to admit I didn't like the Japanese one. I tried, but I went off it because it was just too hard, and it was just a pain in the ass to practice. So I didn't like it that much. But I think the upgrades they've done and the fact that, like I said, I jumped on the code to get the British version due to the fact that everything's in English, and we got the update. The update did end up coming on the Japanese one as well. But yeah, having it all in English and the option to have the recovering energy does make this game a lot better than it was. And it can be pretty fun to play when you're playing all the way through it. It does. I would say the arcade mode is probably the best way to play through it. Play through the story, get it done, and then just play the arcade mode. And then you can try the different Valkyries and try all the different weapons out and see if you can finish it with everyone and try and get the unlocks and the boss fights and everything else that goes with it. So I'd say if I was going to give it a review score, I'd give it myself personally probably 7 out of 10. If you're into Macross, you're probably going to enjoy this more than I did. But I gotta say, I do like this a lot more than when I originally played the Japanese one. And it can be quite a fun game. And I'm going to end up going through with the other characters. I'll probably play for the story mode with the other characters and then see how the story progresses. Another thing as well is this game is made by the same company who did Raiden 5, which in a lot of ways doesn't surprise me. Raiden 5 is a perfectly fine made shoot 'em up, but it's also a little middling as well, the same as this is. So yeah, I would say if you're into Macross, give it a go. You probably like it. But yeah, I am liking it more than it was. So 7 out of 10 for me. I think this game is. So it's one of those. If you like the look of it, give it a go. If you don't pick it up. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I shall catch you again. So bye now.